Monday, September 22nd, Fellstad. We are being fighting these vermin for over a year, the Rat Man, as some may call them. And after their first appearance, I always wondered, where does this creature's come from? Maybe we are close to that answer. After following some injured members of this beasts for a few days, we were not just impressed by their resilience despite the wounds, but the distance that they traveled to attack us. It seems that their hideout is in the ruins of Fellstad, a forgotten city that many wouldn't dare entering. Unfortunately for us, that's where we are heading. Thursday, September 25th, the Temple of Omens. Our arrival in the city was as bad as I expected. Our wizard of the company was more optimistic. Now he's in shock. Even the sound of the wind scares him. But on this I agree with him. There's something wrong in the wind. As we explored the ruins, trying to establish a base, Leah followed our friends through the sewers. After silencing them, Leah tried to map the underground routes that proved more complex than she expected. Exciting, as she described. At least someone is enjoying the journey. Regrouping with us, however, proved more challenging for her, as she follows the trails of the nightmarish battle that we fought in the surface. When she arrived, the company was apathic and tired. A few woundeds. In the so-called Temple of Omens, the only place with a roof over our heads that we could find. As I write this, the men are arguing about the best way to fortify the place, as we are going to stay here for a few weeks. Tuesday, September 30th. The Well of Dreams and Sorrows. The fortification of the temple has gone well so far. We barred the doors and windows, and Ian, our magician, placed explosive runes around the place for protection. While effective against intruders, the blasts draw far too much attention to our small band. Ironically, we now pretend to be fools who tried to defend the place and perished, leaving it abandoned. Temple of Omens, right? You need to read the signs. Our disguise worked well enough to lure in a wounded wizard and what was left of his band. His mercenaries were bold, until they saw our giant looming behind them. With hostilities eased, Ian decided to treat their wounds. In return, the wizard explained why this place bears its name. The Well of Dreams and Sorrows. The fountain in the courtyard, its waters said to grant enlightenment for those who seek. Paul, always the skeptic, decided to test it. We heard a scream, not of rage nor of fear. Something worse. Agony, raw and endless, as if his own son had been slain before his eyes. When we reached him, he was on his knees, weeping. I have never seen him cry. He fumbled for his sword, but we stopped him. Whatever Paul saw in those waters broke something inside him. Whether it made him rethink his choices in life, or regret all of them. Sunday, October 5th. Homecoming. Yesterday was my birthday. Not that anyone here acknowledged or remembered it. My gift came from the city itself. No sudden attacks, no nightmares, no casualties. For once, peace. Paul is better, I think. Ian couldn't drain the poisonous visions that shattered his soul, so he cast forgetfulness on him. Again and again, until Paul stopped shivering. By the end of it, he couldn't even remember that we came here. Every morning he wakes disoriented, and we have to remind him we are in Fellstad, wishing we weren't. A small price for our friend's sanity. Today Cordelia arrived with the first company. She observed the improvements we made to the place, and greeted our men with little emotion. Then, before we could stop her, she went straight to the well and drank from it. Paul can't understand why we panicked about those waters. We didn't explain either. Cordelia didn't react. She only stared at the ground for a while, then stood and looked me in the eye. Whatever she saw in her future, I am part of it. My orders now are clear. Take the wounded back home, rest, eat a hot meal, and return with Gustav and the second company. Leah and Ian will stay. Cordelia will need veterans of the frozen city. Wednesday, October 8th. The Battle of Courhagen. The second company marched toward Velstad. We hadn't heard from Cordelia and the first company for 3 days. Gustav couldn't reach her, and a storm, vast and unnatural, had sealed the city's gates and his connection to her. Gustav, Magnus, and Rogar went ahead to find the source of the blizzard. The rest of us tried to follow them. We shouted, but the wind devoured our voices, and we couldn't even see beyond our hands. I found what seemed to be the outer wall, and little by little, the company gathered again, following its structure. At the gate, Rogar waited. He pointed into the emptiness and said, "The rats are lurking inside that house, and all around us. Kill them and protect the perimeter. We will slay the beast." I couldn't see the house he pointed to, but the ground shaking around us was proof enough that he knew what was going on. A few steps later, we found the house, and the vermin were inside. We cut them down quickly. Through a shattered window, I saw Rogar unleash lightning into the blizzard, and heard the scream of the beast he had spoken of. Then, other flashes of magic erupted within the deep storm. Our mages were fighting a glorious battle, one my eyes were denied from seeing. When the storm was gone, around the road our company stood bloodied but alive. In the center of Courhagen Street lay the corpse of a frostworm, the heart of the storm, lured here by the rats. The road to the temple was a gauntlet of ambushes. By the time we arrived, the encampment was under siege. Rogar took the first watch so we could rest. When I finally found a quiet corner to write and recover, Gustav came to me with troubling news. We reached Cordelia. Cainix was killed in an enemy ambush. Write that in your journal. Thursday, October 9th. The dead of Kylam. I didn't sleep much. None of us did. Rogar's lightning strikes lit up the entire place, and the sound was horrific. At one point, Magnus joined the fight when the assault grew more intense. If we slept at all, it was from exhaustion. And we woke early this morning. Gustav gathered everyone in the inner chambers of the temple and prepared us for the day ahead. A day of vengeance. Poor souls. Had it been yesterday, they might have stood a chance. But today our enemy was anyone not wearing our colors. We showed no mercy. It's strange to see the difference between our wizards and those who wander these ruins chasing fortune. We were trained to kill, professionals in the craft. So every time a wizard crossed our path thinking we were just another band of explorers, things got messy. The first warband we met used smoke and illusions to hide from our arrows. Magnus, full of rage, didn't care who he burned. Flames erupted from his hands, and soon there were only screams and the stench of charred corpses behind that fog. We kept moving. The second warband saw what happened and fled in the opposite direction. The third stumbled into a Ratman ambush and met the same fate as the beasts. We spoke no words, gave no orders. We moved like ghosts through the frozen streets, killing anything and anyone. A soulless army on a death march. Grief had turned us into this. But that changed when we reached the Kylam district. Bodies littered the road, rats and men, too many to count. At what once was a market square, we found the source of the carnage. A vampire, drinking from a fallen man. He dropped the corpse and looked at us, with what I can only describe as indifference. Moments later, the dead began to crawl from the buildings around us. Another vampire joined him. Their colors were familiar. The Blood Claws. An infamous company, their cruelty well known even to us. It seemed their fortune had run dry. Now they were just a pile of corpses serving a new master. We formed a shield wall around our mages, who clearly didn't want this fight. The dead kept gathering in front of us. Our men began to doubt our chances.
Gustav watched the horde in silence.
Probably calculating casualties. The vampire studied our spellcasters, deciding which one should die first. Gustav gave the order to withdraw, and as we started moving, the undead began to retreat as well. The fight would have been meaningless for both sides. I was grateful we didn't have to force our way out. Not far from there, we found the encampment of the first company, and I was finally reunited with my old friends.